WesWes Show.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Channel 135 podcast. This is the podcast we talk about our favorite things in life, movies, TV shows, and pop culture. My name is Cam, and I'm here with the brothers. We have Lord Stace from Takanini. What's up, bro?
It's been a while, so thanks for having me on again. Been following your guys' stuff, so good to see you guys carrying on, keeping it up. I've listened to a couple of episodes and I think, shucks, even some shows I haven't watched and I'm thinking, it sounds quite interesting, might have to give it a go. So,
nice, man. No, it's good to have you on. I know you're a Game of Thrones fan from back in the days, so it didn't take much for me to know that you've been following the House of Dragon. It's good that you jumped on. And what's up to the brother Eric? What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, man? It's good to be back again. Another episode.
Yeah, man. So we're here to talk about House of Dragon, episode 3 of season 2. And man, I just want to get your first reactions on this one. But before I do that, I just want to talk about the big elephant in the room when it comes to this episode. And I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but there's a certain scene in this episode that I don't know if like HBO is trying to push the boundaries when it comes to censorship for episodes and all of that, like sex scenes and violent scenes and that. But to show a full-on blowjob, like fucking full frontal blowjob, I don't know what you guys doing, man. But I was like watching, the kids were like playing around at the back there, and this scene comes out of the blues. Like, what the fuck? Where did this come from? Like, man, this got to be a first day for. This is X-rated now, man.
But like, I was surprised when I saw it, but I was like, holy shit! That's probably the first full-on scene like that, on television, on any TV program right now. Like, I've never seen that before on a TV show. Like, there hasn't been any TV show like that. Now, all there is left is to show penetration, pretty much. They're showing every other horrific thing you can almost think of, especially as of late with all the other TV shows like The Boys is probably another crude one to talk about, how brutal and gritty that is. That's probably like on the top right now, but that's that one scene. That's just like, yeah, it did shock me, but I was like, holy shit, she's actually doing a blowjob. If it's a real penis or not, I don't know. But it's,
Did you rewind it, Eric, just to check a few times?
No, I was just
watch it 3-4 more times, I
had to double look at it. I was like, what the fuck? Like, it's that.
I was too scared to rewind it, man.
Yeah, that was a shock. Man. That was a shock. I was like, I had to quickly check my phone. I was like, did I accidentally Chromecast Pornhub onto the TV?
Yeah.
By accident? What's going on here?
Is this still House of Dragons or?
I know, man. I mean, no warning. No warning. It just comes out of the blue. Like, what the fuck? I mean, it's just the time we're living in now, where everything is online everywhere. Like, it's easy to find porn online, and everyone just knows about it. Like, it makes no difference if you have these kind of scenes now. As HBO, because HBO is on the forefront of drama series, always putting shocking things up there. Like, it's always been violence. Now it's been sex scenes, and this is just overboard. It's overboard now. Is this the way this thing's gonna be now? Because also you're seeing full frontal of men now.
Yeah.
You never used to see that. You never used to see that. And now it's just like diversify and all that kind of stuff.
I don't know. They need to put a warning, because I was watching kids having some dinner and I'm like, holy shit. Where's the warning at the start? Might have want to tell the kids, hey, let's go upstairs and watch your kids' movies.
But even if you had a warning, what are you going to say? Like, you got to be specific. Like, if it's sex scenes, whatever, the same old sex scenes.
Yeah, right, exactly.
The next minute, what are you going to put on? This scene, this episode has blowjobs. So what the?
Just like that, I think I was seeing in the Boys episode, where the guy's eating his own ass with his clones, and my dad was right next to me watching this scene. He was like, "What is he doing?"
See, if you're Pacific Islander, you gotta be careful when you're watching these kind of shows, like especially with your family in there.
Yeah, parents and that shit. My dad was still confused.
Yeah, I just wanted to address that part because there was a big deal because I haven't seen that kind of shit before. But I want, what was your initial reaction for the whole episode, Eric?
Because I hated Sir Christian from the last episode. I wanted to see I wanted to see more of him in this episode as well. I was surprised Otto wasn't in the episode, so that kind of sucked. This is one of my favorite characters. I don't know. I think I was more wanting to see where Sir Christian was gonna hit. Like if he was gonna have any more, like if he was going to take more, more of a power, like more of a role in the episode. Like he was gonna like push the to the side and then just take the reins and go with it. And it looked like he was heading in that direction. Like he's not gonna listen to her anymore. Say, nah, fuck you, bitches. No, it's just me now. I'm gonna do my shit.
Well, if you remember last episode when he got the new gig as hand of the king.
Hand of the king.
After Otto got fired, the look on his face, it looks like he wasn't prepared for it, and he probably doesn't know what, it's like a big step, and he just got given the title as hand of the king right there, and only because he said some advice thing that probably wasn't good advice, sending Sir Eric over to try kill the queen.
Well, he's a soldier. He's always been a soldier. So you give him that title high up there. He doesn't know what to do. All he knows is how to fight and all the rest of it. So straight away, that's his idea. Well, let's go and push the war along further. You know what I mean? So that's where they miss someone like Otto, like you mentioned before, Eric, where he's quite diplomatic in the way that he approaches stuff. So that would probably been the last resort. Whereas now with, Kristen is the hand, he's like, yo, this is now the first plan A now. Get the war going.
Yeah, because he's becoming more vocal now, He's more out there now. His character in the early stages was quite reserved, but now he's becoming more open. It's like, we might be expecting more of him in the coming episodes.
And it's probably the right decision in the long run, seeing that he is a soldier and that they're going to go to war, and you probably need a guy that's war-minded and that kind of thing. But I think what you lose with Otto is the long game. You lose the long game, and he will probably understand. He won't probably understand what the enemy is thinking and be a couple of steps ahead. So Kristen will just go head first there.
Yeah.
We'll dive in head first. How about you, Stace? What was your initial reactions to this episode?
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. I think that was probably my favorite episode so far in this season. I thought there was good pacing for the episode, which I really liked to see. They start off with the argument between those two houses, and each one is supporting a different claim towards the throne, and rather than just show them have this massive battle, they just cut straight to the end result where everyone's basically killed off. And then there's this part where Rhaenyra's talking about, I'm going to try to get into King's Landing to try to negotiate peace, and rather than having this whole journey, next scene she's there. So, they really moved the story along, and they could have dragged it on for sort of 2 or 3 episodes with the long battle between those two houses, the journey across the sea and all the rest of it to get to King's Landing. They just moved the story along quite quickly and just really upped the stakes throughout the episodes as the war approaches. So, I quite like that side of the episode. And, just because of the pacing, they moved the story along quite quickly in this episode, which I liked.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think when I think about the whole series up to now, like including season 1, I think this episode was the start of the whole story. To me, if I look back on season 1, I can't even remember what happened. It seems like a blur, and it seems like the whole season 1 was just to set this up. And for me, understanding where Alicent and Rhaenyra is at, like, I remember they were friends when they were young. That's back in season 1, first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
If I go back, to me, it'll be like a bonus just to watch that, to see how they were when they were young, just growing up. But now they're like enemies, Now we can see what's going to happen. But I think for me, this episode is the first time that the world of Westeros is opening up. Because I think like
more families are in there.
Yeah, I think because season 1 is real tight. It's about the Targaryens. It's about the family, and it's real tight. You stay in King's Landing, and then you jump to Dragonstone, and then it's King's Landing, Dragonstone. You don't really go up north to where the Starks are. You don't really go anywhere else. it's a pretty tight story up until, and I think this episode just really opens up the Game of Thrones world. So you're introduced to a lot more players and a lot more houses. So it's a bigger story now. It's kind of like how Game of Thrones was, when you got all these different stories happening all at once. You got the Starks going around everywhere, like, and you follow each of their journeys and where they're at. So I think it's starting to get that way now.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
But yeah, man. Shall we get into some spoilers? So I want to go straight to that end scene, because, man, if you think about it, this whole war starts off with that misunderstanding.
Well, haven't they got any other names? There's like about 10 Aegons there. Then I can understand how that gets confusing for everyone. When we say, oh, yeah, Aegon's the one, the king when he was dying, he says, yeah, Aegon's the one. So I get how Alicent might think that might be their son. Yeah. I think Rhaenyra's got a son named Aegon as well. There's more Aegons coming up through the generations.
But it was specifically, it was Aegon the Conqueror.
Yeah.
If your son's named Aegon, yeah, it's him.
One thing I want to know is they got suck security, because how many times have the wars been penetrated by Daemon? Yeah. He walks in, he hires those guys to kill the kid, and now Rhaenyra's she walks in.
Or maybe Daemon in episode 2, maybe he's got the right idea, because I think he can end the war, just go and get someone, send 2 guys in there and just kill off the top people, and that should be it. There's not enough security there.
Right.
But I was thinking, like, if Alicent and Rhaenyra were going to talk it out, right? They were going to talk it out. Even if Alicent agreed with it and said it was wrong and said, okay, we're going to not have this war, it won't happen, No. Because if you think about it, it is too late,
Yeah, it is. It's way too late.
How can you reverse what's already done? I mean, someone's going to be embarrassed, right? And then you got the kids coming back. They won't live happily. They'll be more infighting. I don't know. I think it's just better just to carry on. I think
Rhaenyra just points out that, hey, look, actually, that was a misinterpretation of that prophecy. And then you can see Alicent sort of I think deep down she knows that was incorrect, that it's not her son that the king was talking about. It's not that Aegon, because he's basically been a loser for the whole time. So I think deep down she knows, but I think Rhaenyra should have offered her something like, we'll let one of our kids marry one of your kids or something like that. Because Alicent can't just go back to her whole family and after everything's unfolded and say, yeah, I was wrong, cancel everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's also the revelation that millions are going to die in this war. That's over a misunderstanding, and they're going to let it happen because in their minds it's too late. It's too late. I can't take my kid off the throne just because, oh, my bad, we were wrong about you being the king. Like, now you gotta give it to your cousin now. It's like, oh shit. How you gonna unravel that? I mean, how you gonna do that? The only way you can do that is sacrifice the people of the land and go to war. It's a sad thing, but it's a sad thing. But they both accept it. I think Alicent doesn't care. Alicent doesn't care.
Well, I think I don't know if she doesn't care, because she kept on sending, even after that, her grandson that was murdered, she sent those letters with the ravens to Rhaenyra, sort of still trying to implore for peace. Yeah. And then I think that those two were still trying to work out a peaceful deal. And I thought there might have been a potential opportunity there, but then Alicent doesn't want to hear it. So all of her ideas of peace and all the rest of it all went out the window right there and then. So maybe they are too far, but it's going to progress forward now. The war looks like at this stage anyway.
Yeah, the other reason too is because her son and Sir Kristen are not going to listen to her anymore. They're just not going to. Whatever Alicent says now, I think they're just going to do their own thing. She doesn't have any control over them. I don't
think Alicent would have knew if she had known this was a mistake in the beginning. Like, I think she wouldn't care about that. I mean, the fact that her son is on the throne and it's all been done, the acknowledgement, and they've been, on the Iron Throne. Like, you can't take that back. And I think she wanted peace if she knew that Rhaenyra would accept that. Now it's like, it was a mistake. You weren't supposed to be there. Now she knows, really? Okay, it's too late. Who cares about that? I don't care about that. We have to be there.
Yeah.
So it's pretty sad.
The wheels
It's
are
pretty
too
sad.
far in motion now to undo it. So
Yeah.
she sent those letters quite a while ago on the Ravens, and Rhaenyra didn't read them. She maybe should have read them a bit earlier.
Yeah.
And even Rhaenys was saying to her at the start of the episode, hey, look, go and try and reason with Alicent. And she's like, oh, yeah, no. So she wasted a bit of time there, and by that stage, the wheels are probably already in motion now.
Auto, bro.
Yeah. But even on the black side, no one knows about this misunderstanding yet. I think when Rhaenyra goes back home and tells everybody, it's just more fire for them to take over the throne because it is rightfully hers now. Alicent, she probably doesn't want that information to be out on her side. She will say it's all lies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no one knows about that Song of Ice and Fire. That's really a Targaryen story which is passed down through the generation. So that wasn't even women didn't know when Rhaenyra told her way back in season 1. So it's sort of like he was pissed off. That's right. He tried to strangle her.
Crazy stories.
And obviously Alicent's not going to know this. The Song of Ice and Fire. So
she looks surprised when Rihanna talked about it. She was just like, "Huh? What are you going on about?" And you can see it in the facial features. She's just like said it all. She doesn't have any idea what Rihanna was talking about.
So Eric, so what was your favorite scene
in this whole episode?
Yeah,
probably when Sir Christian was getting chased on the field with the dragon. I thought the dragon was coming down, man. Shit, it's a small little thing, eh? I got a funny feeling that she's gonna get wasted in the next episode, eh?
You reckon?
She's dancing too close to danger, man. Sir Christian's not an idiot, bro.
Oh, not to engage anything, eh? Just stand at the back, just be as far away as possible, and just spy on them, eh?
Yeah.
Like I think that was a little too much when she went down to engage.
Bro. I thought she was gonna hold back, but nah, she was trying to attack them.
Yeah.
Especially that guy.
It would have been good if she just burnt them up, eh? Considering how high up he is, he's now the hand of the king. That would have been a big blow towards their army.
Yeah,
yes.
That guy being a war veteran, though, he's just so he's so alert. Because those men were wanting to go to another campsite, right? For luxury and drinks and that. But that guy was just like adamant.
Not going. He wanted to go.
Yeah, but that guy was like, "Nah, bro, let's go back to the original camping plan, okay?" And he's just sort of, like looking around, and next minute he's like, "We've been spotted." It's like, fuck, crazy.
In hindsight, she should have went down and burnt them all. That would have been a big blow.
Maybe
to the Greens.
Maybe that was her intention.
Yeah, but it's like I didn't know until that episode that these last 3 episodes, like we haven't gone to war yet, but we've got every excuse to go to war. You got Daemon who wanted to go to war ages ago, and he's getting held back. But all this time, it's Rhaenyra's just trying to avoid it at all costs. If there's any way that she could avoid this war, she'll try for those options. Even though things are happening, her son has been killed, the other son on the other side has been killed. She's still trying to find a way. And I think her last resort was that plan to go to King's Landing disguised as a nun and meet Alicent and try and have that final discussions face to face, just to make sure that war is the best plan ahead. So I think they needed to have that.
I think you're right, like you mentioned earlier, like if they do go to war, then how many people are going to die? The dragons are going to burn everything up. So even if you win the war, what have you won? Everyone's dead and, all the stuff's burnt down and all the rest of it. So I think that's like where Rhaenyra's coming from, where it's just like, hey, look, this has to be the last of the last resort. Even though her small council, that's advising her to push forward with the war, and same as the other side, they're pushing their side to propel the war forward, but they're trying to be as calm as possible and wait for the last minute, trying to exhaust every other possible solution before.
Yeah, exactly. It seems it's like when I listen to them talk about the dragons, as all you gotta do is send the dragons is just burn everything.
Yeah,
it's almost like that's the atomic bomb or something. Like it's like Oppenheimer sort of thing. Like that's that's the nuclear bomb. We don't want the last resort to be a nuclear war. Send all the dragons out and just burn everything in. Because you see at the Helen Hall when Daemon goes to the castle, that castles are ruined because of dragons. So you can see the power they have, and it's interesting that like these 3 episodes is all about trying to avoid the war. I thought it was like r- trying to ramp the war up, but it's kind of like the opposite, eh? And I think what was important, or the last thing to, because the Rhaenyra's son, he dies, so I thought, oh yeah, that's the thing that's gonna start the war, right? But it wasn't, and then Daemon goes to King's Landing. He gets those 2 guys to kill the other son, chops off his head. You think, oh yeah, that's the one that's gonna start the war, and then it's not. I think this final conversation that Rhaenyra has with Alicent at the end of the episode, I think that's the one that starts the war, because they have to see where they both are at, because they were friends when they were kids, right?
Yeah.
Plus,
best
if
friends.
anyone's going to potentially get peace happening, it would have been them two, because they were
Yeah.
sort of the ones who were striving for peace earlier on. And if them two can't work it out, then wait, that's it. There's no peace. It looks like war on the upcoming episodes. Yeah, it's interesting, like how all the Damon's trying to secure Harrenhal, like you mentioned, and you got Kristen Cole trying to move to wherever he's going to. So it's sort of like they're maneuvering their chess pieces around and trying to take certain areas in preparation for the war. Even though probably 2 of the people who are in charge, like Rhaenyra, definitely is doing everything she can to stop the war from starting. But people around them are already trying to maneuver everything in place already in preparation for war. So that was quite interesting.
Even Rihanna's her advisory team, they all just want to go and attack. They just don't want to hear anything, any middle ground. They just want to have their war.
Yeah, exactly. And I was thinking the other day about, at the moment we're 3 episodes in, who's got the upper hand now? Who out of the 2 houses, you got green and black? Who's got the better chance of winning this war? And I thought it was black, because when I think about the king, I think the King Aegon, he's a little kid. He's immature. He rather have a drink with his mates, and then he do these things to lead this war when he doesn't have any experience. He's already fired his grandfather, who was the best guy to be in the position to counsel him. So I think they're like, I think the green team is more in like a, they've got their act together, they're unprepared. But then when I think about the black side, Rhaenyra's, like, she's got her council that are pushing her. She's not really decisive. And you wonder if the council will be, man, this bitch, man, we're trying to tell her and she doesn't want to do what we, the obvious, and she's not doing anything. She says, oh, I gotta go think about it. Man, you don't want that in a leader. Like, we told you what you have to do, and you're gonna go think about it some more? Like, so, yeah.
Yeah, you think about who Rhaenyra's dad was, King Viserys. I think he served one of the longest terms as a king, and he presided over a long period of peace. And he was quite diplomatic in his approach to things. He wasn't rushed into his decisions. Put off war as long as possible as a last resort. And Rhaenyra shows a lot of those traits. So I actually think that they might be ahead as well, just because, like, if you look at the other side, that king, he's actually quite hopeless. And now they've got Kristen Cole as the hand, who's ill prepared to be a top level advisor. He can be a great soldier. You want him to lead your battles, cool. But as a hand of a king and advising you,
really bad.
I'm not sure. So I think that them two as leaders might be the downfall of that other side there.
Well, Aegon's motivations was only from pure revenge because of his boy.
Right.
If it wasn't for that, he would still be a useless king. But he's more motivated now. So it's just,
but at the same time, Aegon, he doesn't really know what he's doing, because they told him to get on the dragon and go help with the army and go to Harrenhal, and I don't know, man. You're the king, man. You shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, he was advised to not to. Like,
it looks like he's quite easily manipulated, eh? Like, if you sort of talk him around, you can get him to do things. Because you're right. Oh, go and fight and brother. Oh, yeah, okay. And then the brother says, no, you wait here. Okay.
Yeah, there was advice from the Lords of Whisperers, eh?
Yeah, that's right. And he's like,
that guy's
right.
Creepy, man. So creepy.
So what is that position? The Lord of Whisperer?
I think it's like
he's like a spy.
Like they have people in all areas that tell them stuff. important information. Just like Rihanna's got that lady.
Yeah.
Is it the White Snake? And she
I know
has,
the one. I don't know what her name is. Yeah.
yeah, and she has all the knowledge about the ongoings of where people might be. That's how Rihanna infiltrated King's Landing anyway, to meet up with Alicent with her advice. I guess he's like the guy on Game of Thrones, the bald head guy.
Master of Whispers. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's the same as him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see him like that, but he's more. This Lord of Whispers is more conniving. I think he's got something up his sleeve. I don't know.
Mm. You know one
But
thing. Yeah, go.
No, carry on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the one thing about the Game of Thrones is like they always introduce these new characters, and if you hated the character, they're gonna introduce someone else that you hate even more. And, up until third episode, like the guy for me that I hated is fuckboy, Sir Kristen. But then Alicent's brother, hey, he looks like he's a bit of a prick, eh? Looks like he's a bit of a prick too. Like, I don't know what his deal is, but yeah, he seems like he's gonna be trouble, eh?
Yeah, it does seem like that. He kind of knows there's something going on between his sister and Sir Kristen.
Yeah, you got to keep in mind his father was the hand of the king, and now he's going off with this guy Sir Kristen, who's essentially taking his dad's job, and he's looking at him like this guy's not qualified, and that's why he's sort of a bit smug about it. Like, oh, bro, you're not highborn, you're not anything. You're just a guy who's sort of come from nowhere.
He mentions that when he meets him.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's like, your boots are still dirty or something like that, along those lines. Like basically saying he's sort of, a bum from nowhere taking the job. So, yeah.
There could be more friction in future, right, between those two characters.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. The other new character they introduced was the bastard guy. The bastard guy in the brothel having a drink. You see there was the bastard brother of King Varys, eh?
Is that the one that that they were gonna get him to have sex with that lady? With the one that was Aemond was lying with?
No. Before that.
Okay.
Oh, you're skipping ahead, man. Skipping ahead to that part.
You want to go see me?
I thought that's the guy was the one that he was showing in the brothel.
No, that was a young knight, eh? They wanted.
Okay. It was a guy who was going to be part of the. I don't know what they call those knights, but once they become a knight, they have to take a vow of celibacy. So that was essentially like his last night out. He can do whatever he wants before he takes this vow of celibacy as a knight. So, like an old-fashioned stag night type thing.
In a way, I kind of like King Aegon. Eh? He's a party dude. He wants to have a drink. He don't want to be king in the first place. Eh? He don't want to be. He just got this position as king, but he just wants to party, man. He's a young guy.
Yeah,
that's what I remember him from season 1. Like his mother's like cleaning after him, and he's just like already half drunk in the afternoon, looking for the next party. Crack up, dude, man.
Yeah.
Go.
I wonder about that second son, the one with the eye patch. I think he might have been a better choice. So, like, there's that scene where the king basically humiliates him and mocks him, and tries to belittle him in front of all of his new knight friends. Quite, a lot of inner strength. He doesn't get angry. He doesn't show that he's upset. He genuinely cared about that lady that he was with, because he keeps going back to that same one. And he's like, oh no, don't worry, you guys can go and do what you want. He showed a lot of self-restraint, even though he's probably the toughest out of all of them. He showed in season 1 he's a really good fighter. He's got the biggest dragon. So if he just turned to the king and said, you know what, I'm just gonna fucking kill you, bro. He probably could just waste it. I thought, he showed great restraint in that same.
He looks the party with his eye patch, and the scar going down his eye, going down his face. He might. I don't know, because I haven't read the books, but I don't know if he might grow up to be one of those evil guys. But I don't know, he might die. I don't know, but
he's like a younger version of Daemon.
Yes, and I think they're gonna respect for each other, or something.
Yeah,
because
but I don't think Daemon respects him.
Yeah, but he's kind of on his high horse because Daemon wanted him dead, eh? So he was kind of like, man.
He's like, oh man,
Mongo wants me dead. I must be something. I must mean something to him, Yeah. But I agree with what you said last episode, Eric. How you saw him as like a Homelander type character. Like, he needs comfort. He needs love. That's why he goes to that prostitute. Because he
Yeah.
tell in the last episode he tells her how he feels and all that kind of stuff. Like he needs he won't tell anyone else. He confides in that prostitute, and
Yeah.
he doesn't want to do anything. He just wants to sit there naked and cuddle, So he's wanting that kind of thing.
Now what's gonna happen now that his brother knows that? So what's gonna happen? Will he still go back to her? Is it gonna cause some conflict between the two? Never know.
Nah, I don't. I think it's just part of the character building on him. Like he's that kind of unstable
Yeah, he's
kind
very
of guy.
unstable.
Very emotional. He's like an emo guy.
Bro, they're the most dangerous too.
Yeah.
That Targaryen they introduced, he must have a role to play. They sort of just sprung him out of nowhere. What the bastard son of someone, and he was at the bar saying, "Hey, look, Rhaenyra's actually got the rightful claim," and blah,
So
blah,
he
blah,
is a
and that's her.
Targaryen.
Well, that's what he said.
That's what he
might
says.
just think about it.
They were teasing his hair because he had white
Yeah.
hair. Well,
But-
it was kind of dirty.
I actually thought it was just like a character that was just chucked in there, and then he was just talking shit, like
Yeah.
just some drunk person off the street.
Well, if you remember, there's a couple of scenes earlier where Rhaenyra's talking to that female version of the House of Lord of Whisperers on their side, and they're sort of just having a bit of back and forth about how she's going to advise her. And there's that dragon flying in the background, and he looks quite restless. And then that lady says to Rhaenyra, I think he might just be lonely.
Yeah,
And you think to yourself, they've just introduced a new Targaryen. The one thing about Game of Thrones which I like is they have these scenes which at the time seem quite pointless, but in relation to the whole story actually make a lot of sense. So I think there might be some foreshadowing there. Maybe this new Targaryen's going to be the new future rider of that dragon that was only and had no rider sort of thing.
she did.
So I thought, at the time you think, what the hell was the point of that scene? And I think in the upcoming episodes, I think someone's going to end up riding that dragon that they just chucked in and said, "Oh, the dragon looks lonely there."
So what's the deal? Does
Yeah.
every Targaryen has to have one dragon each?
Well,
Is that the deal?
only Targaryens can ride dragons. So not every Targaryen gets dragon, but they're the only ones who can.
Well,
Now they've got a new Targaryen and a dragon with no rider, so I thought, oh, that might be the one.
Well, you remember Damon's daughters, Rihanna, and what's the other one's name?
Bela and
Yeah,
Uh,
Raina.
Rhaena.
Yeah,
I think it's Rhaena. Yeah.
yeah. How one of them was meant to take the mother's dragon, and they didn't even do it. And then Aemon just came along and took the dragon.
Was that the dragon? Was that the
It
big
was-
dragon?
Yeah,
Is
the big dragon belonged to Damon's wife.
Oh.
I forgot her name, but he just went in the cave and did his bow, and the dragon accepted him, and then they took off. But one of the daughters was supposed to take that dragon.
So he
So I
stole
think
her
it's a-
dragon. He stole her dragon.
Yeah, so I think it's like a Targaryen can only approach a dragon, and if a dragon accepts them, then
Right.
they have some kind of a bond.
Mm.
But that was funny how Aemon just stole that dragon and took off. He took the biggest dragon.
Yeah. I was thinking the other day, like you got Targaryens with the traditional silver hair, but you got them ones with black hair. So is it like the gene stronger in the male? Because if you think of Rhaenyra's kids, they got black hair, the older ones, but their dad is a black hair, do they? So the black hair goes to them. But when she has kids to Daemon, those kids have white hair, right? And then if you look on Alicent's side, like all her kids have white hair because of the king. Huh.
So it must be male dominant, are you saying?
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not sure, because you think about in Game of Thrones, Jon Snow.
Yeah.
His dad was someone Targaryen, his real dad.
And
So
Right.
and
the
this
Stark
is the Song of Ice and Fire, that prophecies about.
and the lady what the Stark auntie? She had orange hair, didn't she?
That's right.
Which one?
Yeah. Sister of John Stark. Was it John?
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His sister.
Because his mate was in love with his sister.
That scene in Harrenhal with Damon having those dreams. What do you guys make of that? Because he sees that girl away, and the girl tells him he's gonna die there. Hope he doesn't die, because I don't know. He says he's gonna die at that place, so hopefully it's
Yeah.
not gonna be next episode. I don't know,
Mm-hmm. It's weird.
but he does kind of feel guilty now about the young boy getting his head chopped off. I think he
I
had
wonder
that
if-
nightmare. Yeah.
I wonder if
Fun.
that's what that means about him dying. Because remember in episode 2 where Damon he's arguing with Rhaenyra and he says, "Oh, the King Viserys was scared of me or whatever. He was afraid of me and all the rest of it." And then she goes, "No, he didn't trust you. You're too unreliable and you're impetuous and all the rest of it." And then he goes and kills that, gets that kid, the wrong one. And then Rhaenyra says, "Hey, I don't trust you either." And he's sort of a bit of a fuck up in a way.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's what it means about him dying. So like the old, unreliable, useless Damon dies, and then hopefully a proper version who can actually help Rhaenyra out comes forward. Maybe it's sort of like a metaphorical meaning.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just sort of making shit up after a few beers.
Helena and a fourth sibling that's back at where the Hightowers are from. So also says he's going to go over there and meet up with them. So yeah, there's another Targaryen we haven't seen.
Okay.
Definitely got to groom that one.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what this dude's story is or what he's all about. But yeah, I think he might be he must be looking after their house over there at Hightower.
Yeah.
Where the Hightowers are from. I did some reading, and apparently the end scene with Alicent and Rhaenyra's meeting, that's not in the books.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's not in the book, that scene. So that was an extra thing they added just to ramp things up even more. So that was interesting.
I'm glad they did that, yeah, because like you say, it does up the stakes, and they had to at least explore the possibility of peace. They tried it, didn't work, so at least war now seems the only option. So you can at least close that chapter and say, they tried for peace, no, didn't work. Now all these people got to die, all these innocent civilians and stuff.
What about the scene in the beginning, with how those two two factions have their argument, and then the next scene is just like bodies on the ground, and then the creek and the stream, and it's just like going on for miles. There's bodies everywhere. It's like holy shit, just from a petty argument.
That's like and aren't they two factions that have this feud for ages?
Yeah,
I mean they're born into this feud, right?
Yeah,
the next generation come up, they're born into this feud, and I think what happens is that they're born into it, and they just forget what this all is all about. They just hate each other so much they forget how this all started because it happened so many years ago. So the thing, and it might be like some misunderstanding, just like what's happened now with the Targaryens. So but the outcome is all of them getting killed. Like you see the whole army on the ground, all dead. And probably they're fighting for something that that they're just born into. Don't know how it started.
Yeah, true. I hope that's not the future for the Targaryens. Well, it is anyway. I hope
but it is because we know that is this 200 years before Game of Thrones. It's 200 years, eh? So we know this is the beginning of the end for the Targaryens, eh?
It's 200. Yeah, I think you're right. 200 years.
But
it's definitely
this is the beginning of the end
for the
whole family.
Yeah, I guess so, because the Daenerys and her brother was the only ones left on Games of Thrones.
And Jon Snow.
Yeah, and Jon Snow.
Well, it's definitely probably be the end for the Hightowers, because I don't think they come in Game of Thrones at all. They must get wiped out as well.
Man, that's what I mean. That the last Lannister on the at King's Landing, the one that keeps on getting teased, you might have something behind it.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to see the Lannisters' place in the world. They're not really anything important, eh? They're just
so you creep their way up to the throne.
Yeah, but it's cool to hear the other houses in the series, eh? Like the Aarons. You don't see them; they just get mentioned. Then you got the Tullys. Then you got the Tullys that they get mentioned. Cool. The Lannisters are there. We see the Starks in episode 2, and I think Dawn got mentioned in episode 3 as well, when they were talking at the bar at that pub.
That guy was from Dawn, eh?
Yeah,
that's right.
All right, sweet boys. Your predictions for episode 4, Eric. What do you think is going to happen?
I don't know. I think the war will definitely start, but how it starts, I'm not too sure. Because I would have thought it would have started with the other boy getting murdered, but it didn't. Rihanna just keeps on putting herself on the back foot. She might get betrayed by her council. I'm not sure. They might just go ahead and do the war without her permission. I think, because Damien's already headed off to, I forgot the name of the place he's gone to, but Sir Christian's heading to the same position as well. Because apparently there's a kind of military advantage that place has. So we'll see how that plays about. If Sir Christian and Damien are meeting each other in the next episode.
I think if you control Harrenhal, you control something there'll be an advantage. Like I think it's the water, or
the
I think it's something to do with the Tullys, something to do with them.
Yeah, I think there's like only one way across, so like a narrow part where you've got to own that part of the land to get through.
Yeah, because they also mentioned that it can garrison, it can hold a lot of people, like it can shelter a lot of people, but it's in ruins. So now that's gonna work out.
Yeah.
What else? The eggs. Rihanna, how she's taking the eggs in it. And I'm just wondering. She doesn't look like her. She's acting like her. Like she feels. I think the character feels like she's just been. There you go. Take the eggs. Fuck off. You look after the eggs. But I think she feels like that. This role is not that important. But I don't think she's seeing how serious it is. Eggs don't hatch, then there's no more dragons.
Well, yeah, it's interesting because they give her those eggs and they send her to Pentos. So you remember in Game of Thrones with Daenerys, when she first becomes a sort of a Targaryen, and they give her those eggs as a present for her wedding to Khal Drogo. Yeah. So here's a wedding present, some eggs in Pentos. So I'm not sure. I'm wondering if those are those same eggs or not.
Shit, I hope not, man. 200 years? Holy cow.
Yeah, what area? So I'm drawing a bit of a bow here, but I thought, sending her to Pentos with some dragon eggs, which is where Daenerys got her dragon eggs from.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Have you, Stace, any predictions for episode 4?
I'm sticking to my metaphorical death theme for Daemon. I think that he's going to come to the realization that he needs to get behind Rhaenyra. He's sort of tried to. I think he feels like he should have had a claim to the throne himself, and getting behind Rhaenyra's claims after this and really helping her out a bit more. And Harrenhal is going to be a crucial part of that. So if they can secure that, that'll give them a big advantage. I quite like your idea, Eric, about maybe her small council betraying her a little bit, because they were quite keen to push forward with the war. And the way they were talking to her is quite disrespectful when you consider that she's essentially their queen or whatever. They were just like, you don't know, you just got to listen to us and we'll sort it out. You go hide over there and we'll just start the war by ourselves. So it seems like they're sort of on their last legs in terms of, accepting her ideas. So I wouldn't be surprised maybe something like that might happen. Yeah, and also that new Targaryen to ride that extra dragon that was lonely. I think that will happen as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a battle at Harrenhal when Sir Kristen and his guys come and they meet up with those guys at Harrenhal, and I think you're going to see the first battle of the war. I think episode 3. And then I think hopefully we get to meet the other Targaryen that's down at Hightower, the other sibling.
Yeah, true. Hopefully Otto's in the next episode.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, they haven't they in Game of Thrones they'd regularly kill off main characters. We haven't seen any major characters die, so hopefully someone dies in the next couple of weeks. Say one of these wars, sort of thing. So
well, they
expect a death in the next coming couple of episodes, I reckon.
I think the reason for they haven't killed anyone off because I think the story starts now. The story starts in episode 3.
Yeah.
I mean, we've already set it all up. It took a whole season to set things up in episode 1 and 2. Now we're here. Now it's time to move forward. And I think we're going to start seeing some deaths happen to me.
Yeah, true that. Because they seem to be talking a lot. Having a lot of conversations together. So yeah, you could be right.
Yeah.
I wonder more influence. I wonder if the Lord of Whispers will have more influence on the king in the next episode.
Yeah, he's a bit of a snake there, do you think?
Been up the ladder.
Yeah.
Slowly.
So boys, any last words? We'll just wrap up.
Yeah, I can't wait to be on the next episode. Man, I really like this House of Dragons this season. Way better than last season to me. I reckon it's probably the best season. Well, we'll see. But yeah, it's definitely better than last season. There was too much fucking in last season.
Yeah, but I'm with you, Cam. Sort of like everything has culminated us to get to us to this point. All of season 1 and all of everything else, moving the pieces around so that we could get to this war. And now it seems we're on the precipice of the war starting now. That piece is out of the question. So yeah, big battle definitely either this episode or the one after for sure. I'd say.
Sweet boys, that's us. Thanks, guys. Continue listening to us. Channel 135. You can find us on Spotify, anywhere else you get your podcast. Check out our website, www.weswesnet.com, and look out for our WesWes Sports blog magazine. Next edition should be out this weekend. All right.
Cool.
Have a good week. See you.
Sweet.
Nope,
Thanks, boys.